What up, y'all? Reverend Leviathan in the house. Chilling here in Louisville, Kentucky with my homie Bukshot.
What up?
And I don't think I'm going to be able to do this with a straight face. So, yeah, so how's it going? And, well, some of our viewers might be wondering, DarkestGoth Magazine is interviewing a rapper?
Exactly.
And to that I say, yes. We're an alternative subculture magazine, and we're supposed to represent other alternative subcultures, especially our fellow outcasts, freaks, and weirdos. So, Bukshot, thank you for being with DarkestGoth.
For sure, man.
So, how have you evolved as an artist since your debut album, Welcome to the Ville?
As far as the evolution is concerned, I've progressed. I think I've progressed deeply as an artist. I've experimented. I've experimented with a lot of different sounds and style of tracks. I've worked with a lot of different artists that I've wanted to work with on this journey. But I've definitely, Welcome to the Ville came out in 1997, and it's been 20 years. So there's been a huge progression since then. I think the quality of the music has progressed. The bars that I'm spitting and the rhyme schemes and patterns and just everything in general. I think it's progressed a lot in 20 years, and I feel like right now I'm making the best music I've ever done in my career. So yeah. I'm happy where it's at.
Well, and you can see, a variety of different influences in your style. So, I mean, who would you cite, if there is one, as your biggest influence, your biggest musical influence?
If I had to go with one artist, probably Ice Cube. I'd say since the beginning, the first time I've ever heard NWA, Ice Cube was always like the standout artist. I think back then, everybody's favorite person in that group was kind of like Eazy-E. But to me, I always felt like Ice Cube was the man, and listening to Ice Cube and NWA just kind of started me on the path. Listening to them was what made me want to make music.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you said, that Welcome to the Ville came out 20 years ago, and you're still an underground artist. Right. So, what is the driving force that makes an underground artist want to stay away from the mainstream?
In the beginning, when I first started doing music, there's always people in your ear saying, if you want to get to this level, you have to do this kind of music, and you have to do it this way. And when I first started, the very first music that I started doing was underground, like more hard shit, because that's what I was listening to, that's what I wanted to make. And as the music progressed, and I did more music, I was meeting more people, DJs and A&Rs that were like, this stuff's alright, but you gotta do like stuff for radio, and I kind of like it wasn't like super radio stuff, but it was geared for radio, and my heart really wasn't in it, but I felt like to get that jump, I felt like I still had to do it to appease A&Rs and labels and DJs, so I kind of like dibble-dabbled and attempted to make radio-friendly music, and I really wasn't into it. It was the least favorite stuff that I was attempting to do, but I felt like I had to do it to get to the next level, and so basically I would put out an album that was all like hardcore, dark, wicked gangster shit, and then there'd be like 2 or 3 songs on the album that didn't really resemble the rest of it, because I felt like I had to appease certain people to try to get a deal or get bigger and get the music heard. And just at the end of the day, I was just like, these people are telling me that this is the kind of music that I had to make if you want to get to this level. And it's like, I don't even care about being on that level. It's like, that's not the music I'm into. That's, I don't want to conform to the music that you want me to do to get to that level. So I just went back to, I'm just going to do what I want to do the music that I like, the music that I like to listen to, and I'm not trying to get on anybody's level. I'm just doing what I want to do, and
Better to do that than be fake.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And, you've had a lot of collaborations with different artists. I mean, you've worked with Twisted, you've worked with Boondocks, you've worked with Chris Calico, Tech Nine. Is there anybody in the rap scene or even possibly rock scene that you would like to collaborate with that you haven't been able to yet?
I'd say, somebody who I would like to collaborate with. I mean, I did a song with Violent J on my new album, Weirdo. Of course, I would have loved to did a song with both the Clowns, ICP, but it just wasn't in the cards at the time. Joey was recording his new solo record, and as much as they tour and whatnot, but I'd say if there was a bucket list, I've always wanted to do a song with ICP as a group.
Mm-hmm.
I really did songs with, I'd say, almost every artist that I really wanted to work with, but like, I mean, nobody really technically, outside of like ICP. I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of Blaze. Blaze a Dead Homie. That's an artist that I think it would be cool to work with Blaze. We've never done a track together. We're cool with each other and we say what's up, but we're just it's just something that hadn't happened. But, that'd be cool to do something with Blaze. But I've worked with a lot of artists and have done songs with a lot of artists that I've been fans of for years, and it's pretty cool that I'm at the point now that there's not really like a long list of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know I would definitely like to see a collaboration between the Dead Man and the Weirdo. So if you're watching this, Chris, wink wink. So you talked about your new album Weirdo, so I remember seeing on Helter Skelter a release date for that, so apparently it got pushed back. So, I mean, what can you tell us about Weirdo?
Weirdo has basically been in the making for like 6 years. It's had some crazy twists and turns. 6 years ago that was supposed to be the next album, and I was working on tracks with it, and so much time had went by. I was just trying to make like this perfect album, and so I'm looking at the schedule like, okay, it's already been like 8-9 months, and I'm not close to putting this thing out. And in my head, Weirdo was supposed to be this perfect album, and it wasn't where it wanted it to be. So I was putting together small projects, getting me more time to get Weirdo released, and actually Helter Skelter started out as an EP that I was going to release at the Gathering, and I actually pulled some songs that were supposed to be on Weirdo and put a couple songs on Helter Skelter, and then it just turned into something way bigger than it was intended. It went from an EP to a double disc album, and got that finished, and that ended up being one of the biggest albums I've ever done, and continued to work on Weirdo, and before you know it, 6-7 months have went by, and Weirdo still wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I put out the Traverse, I did Nightmare Hall, and I'm just releasing all these projects, and then this is like 5.5 years later, and Weirdo still really isn't done. So I just kind of sat back and was like, I gotta get this Weirdo album done. So, I hit up Seven, who is a homie of mine, but in my opinion, one of the dopest producers out there, period. And I just said, hey man, I know we got a lot of songs already done for Weirdo, but I've used some of these songs in other projects, and it's time to get this thing done. I need some new tracks, and told him what I was looking for, and just over the last 6 months, it was just nothing but Weirdo. And, I went as hard as I could, and I'm very, very happy with the outcome.
All right. And where would you say you get a lot of your lyrical inspiration? Because I noticed there are a few horror themes here and there.
Yeah,
So
Lyrical Inspiration, as crazy as it sounds, I wouldn't necessarily say it comes from other artists, which, there's a lot of artists that I listen to, not just rap. I listen to a lot of rock. But like honestly, from movies, video games, I'm a super big pop culture person. I'm a comic book guy. I'm into, super big horror movie fan. Yeah. But, I love the dark shit. I love wicked shit. Since my first album, it's always had really, really dark underlying overtones to it. And, I don't just do dark music. I mean, on Weirdo, there's actually some really cool light stuff as well. But, my love has always been with the underworld and the dark, wicked shit. So I'm always gonna, have that coming on any album I do for the most part. But yeah, I'd say, it's not really even coming from my lyrical inspiration. Isn't really always from other people's music, but movies and just culture in general.
Mm-hmm. And in these 20 years as an artist, what would you say has been your greatest challenge, and also maybe your greatest accomplishment?
Easily, in my opinion, my greatest biggest accomplishment was finally getting Weirdo done. That's been like the elephant in the room and the monkey on my back for the last six and a half years. But that was a huge challenge because I felt like I hyped the album so much. It was supposed to be a good album regardless, but there was so much hype going into it. 6 and a half years, it got to a point like, I had homies like Jelly Roll and Crucifix when I would talk about Weirdo finally coming out, like they would laugh and joke like it was some kind of like it's a myth, like Weirdo's not gonna happen. Like Jelly Roll would tell me all the time, like, you ain't never gonna drop that Weirdo album, man. It's turned into a myth. So it's like I've trumped this album up for so long that I was almost intimidated by it because everybody has been expecting Bukshot's put this album off this long. This has got to be the dopest shit he's ever done. And at the time, what I had was dope, but I just didn't have enough of it. So, it was just like I had to live up to that hype, or what I thought was living up to that hype. And, from today, the album, it's shipping in 6 days. So outside of just a couple people, nobody's heard it. So, it's going to be up to the fans to decide, did it live up to the hype? We'll know in about a week.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for your time, Bukshot, and definitely good luck on the new record.
I appreciate that.
So definitely look forward to hearing it.
For sure.
And everybody make sure to pick yourself up a copy of Weirdo and a Weirdo lunchbox. Can't go wrong with that. So, and to my fellow goths that are watching, who've been donning the black clothes and the black leather in this freaking hot summer, represent. Peace.
Broke his haters' jaw, I think his people's trying to sue me. But if they really trying to stop me, they may have to shoot me.